Welcome to the Mum CEO podcast. I'm your host, Esther Roach. Join me as we explore the dynamic intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship. From the challenges to the triumphs, we're here to unravel it all. Get ready for insightful conversations, practical wisdom, and a whole lot of inspiration. Let's embark on this empowering journey together. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mum CEO podcast. I'm your host, Esther Roach, and today I'm joined by Emma Burke. Hello, Emma. How are you?
Hi, I am great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure having you. So, for the benefit of the audience, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do.
Yeah, so as Esther just said, my name is Emma and I am the owner of a children's sports brand called Lacey's Defiance. So, in essence, Lacey's is a product that was invented. It was a solution to a problem that I saw on my boys' feet and plenty of others where shoelaces come undone during sport. So, I am very much, as well as running my business, a sideline mum, and we created Lacey's, brought a product to the marketplace that was a solution to a problem in youth sport. And then the brand's kind of developed from there, really. So we have the Defiance range. So Defiance is anything that isn't really the Lacey's bands. But again, it's solutions to problems. So we're not reinventing things, but sometimes we're just making things better from a mum's perspective. I kind of know that, that some of the clothing they need to wear, it needs to last. Really, you want it to be handed down if possible. So it was just taking some of the elements of products that were already available with a bit of a mum's touch, and that's where my brands have evolved from.
Oh, that's fantastic. So your journey, if you tell us a little bit about, obviously you've mentioned the inspiration, which was solving the problem with your boys, and being a mum of two as well. How did that evolve? How did that start?
Yeah, so it wasn't my first business actually. So if I go right back, I trained as a vet nurse when I left school. All I wanted to do was work with animals. So went off into that world. Um, but soon became a little bit disheartened with the fact that it was very long hours, weekends, which was not great as a teen, early 20s, having to be on call. And I just felt like I wanted something else. I wanted kind of, I suppose it's that what they call that entrepreneurial kind of spirit and the freedom that I wanted. So my first business actually was a contract cleaning company that I set up, and that got pretty big. I learned from, like, I didn't have a clue how to run a business at that stage. I'd like everything. I had to Google how to do a quotation. Like, it really was kind of ground zero for me. But I built that, had my family, and that was actually very time consuming. And they got to a point that actually I realized I wasn't enjoying it. So sold off some of the contracts from that business. And then Lacey's came about actually just, I suppose, like a lot of businesses, it was very much by chance. So on the sidelines of a football pitch, you used to find me there probably 4 to 5 times per week,
Wow.
juggling the two different boys, different places. And a little boy came and his dad put an elastic band around the boy's football boots. And somebody said, "Why are you doing that?" And he said, "It stops their shoelaces from coming undone." Now, for anybody that's been on the sidelines of a pitch, has got a child playing, it happens a lot. And although it's not one of the biggest problems in this world, in youth sport, the coaches have to stop and retie, or the parents, the refs quite frequently stop a match in order to retie laces just because of sort of health and safety. And we all watched this little boy, and yeah, lo and behold, his shoelaces didn't come undone with the elastic band. So really, it was just kind of like an idea. Well, could there be a product that we could bring
Yeah.
out that would do what the elastic band does, but obviously there's some commercial value, and also it's something that the kids really want to wear. Obviously, very aware that children are quite particular on what they wear and what they don't wear. So we hit like a real demographic of kind of like the ages sort of 6 to 12 years, and trying to start a habit really as well. That it's they put their socks on, they put their shin pads on,
Yeah.
and their laces bands are just part of their kit and their uniform. So that was back in 2016. That's when we first kind of saw the elastic band scenario. And then Lacey's was launched in May 2017. So we sort of spent that time finding manufacturers and prototyping and getting a market ready product.
So Emma, you've mentioned quite a few things with how the brand came about and that it wasn't your first business. It's really interesting as well because we've recently just had like GCSE results, and with the youngsters, they're expected to kind of know what they want to do or be at such an early age. You started as a vet nurse in your early 20s, but obviously decided that wasn't it for you. What sort of advice would you have to somebody who with the pressures that come, especially for you've got teens, so you'll be able to sort of say, what can they do in order to use the best they can, I suppose, the opportunities that they get.
Yeah, oh, that's such a great question. And yeah, I've got a son, so one that's just gone to university, but in America. So he's gone down a completely different
Wow.
route to a lot of his friends, and another one that has actually wanted to do the same thing. And I think actually generationally things have changed. So when I was at school, I don't know, was it like 14 years of age? You had to sit down with a careers advisor and they say, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to work with animals. They're like, you won't get the grades that you need to go to vet school because I had to get kind of, I think, physics at A, and that was never going to happen. But you could do this, this, and this. And then it was almost like that was your meeting and that was your life kind of dictated for you. Whereas I think now, and definitely the advice that I've given to my sons is just like, do the best you can to get yourself to the next level that you want to go to. So, but I don't think any career has to be that set in stone unless there is something really specific you want to do, potentially, your doctors, your lawyers, that type of thing. So I'm very much of the opinion that you should actually just try and go out and get as much knowledge as you possibly can, but from wherever. It doesn't have to be higher education. It could be knowledge of going and working for a startup or, offering some work experience somewhere, because I think it's those experiences that actually, as you get older, you think, well, that's not for me. I thought that was for me, because what I thought at 16 and what I think now are two completely different things. And for me, I suppose the animal things will always be there. I have two dogs, two cats at home, and like, I'm absolutely passionate about animals. But I can have that as almost like a hobby. It doesn't have to be a career, and I can have my career as well. So I think it's really important to know that what you choose at 16, or if you don't know at 16, just go out there and try and get some experience. And I always think sort of the world of startups is great, or small business, because you're kind of at the coal face in a small business. A lady that came to work for me, she came to help with packing orders. She now runs my TikTok lives. She's
Wow.
quite a bit younger than me. And I was talking about TikTok, and she was like, oh, you should try it. I watch TikTok shopping and I watch TikTok lives. And I was like, oh, that's not for me. I felt like I actually said, I'm too old for TikTok. But actually, she's just come on board and absolutely loves it, thrives doing it. You can see her in front of the screen. It's just so natural for her. So I do think, like, if you get into small business, there's opportunities that are there. And for the owner of the small business as well, just to take people on and not say your role is da da da, is to be quite open-minded about people's roles within a small business. You're all part of one sort of super team, I think, when you work in a smaller industry.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right, because I hear that a lot with, some people are very creative. So if you kind of pin them down to a specific thing, they're not really gonna come out of their shell. They're not gonna show, their full potential, if that makes sense. So that's really great advice, because I think people do worry a lot about, what are you gonna do, where are you gonna go next? But clearly you've shown it that you can change on your third thing
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Don't know what's next.
Which is amazing. And would you say in your situation, your boys helped you to kind of move into, developing Lacey's basically. How much influence did they have in you changing careers?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I suppose just from the fact that being on the sidelines, I guess, is where, we saw this kind of problem. And then having a business mind, you can kind of see the problem and then see that potentially there's a solution and there's something commercial there. But they have been, so when we started, my youngest was the culprit for shoelaces coming undone. So they were like my cheerleaders. They were the ones wearing the product. And then obviously as they've got older, they don't want to be wearing the product anymore. But they've been really, really sort of pinnacle in, I'd say, oh, I'm thinking about bringing out XYZ, and they would be like, it's a fad, or they would be so good at kind of help steer me in the right direction. Obviously, we'll always try out new product. So if anybody brings that product, you tend to get quite a few different prototypes of things, and you need to be quite sort of diligent in your testing of that. So they would always be there for that. And yeah, just super supportive of it. And I think probably because they're very passionate about the sport that they play and they can see that, I'm involved loosely in that now, that there's really like the two come hand in hand. So they've been definitely pinnacle in it. And who knows, as they kind of go through what they choose to do, they might end up coming back into the business at some stage and giving me some time off. But yeah, I think it's so important to have the support of your family. And I'm really, really fortunate that, my husband and my sons, they kind of they get it, and they've got my back the whole time.
No, absolutely. And it's what's interesting is obviously you started the brand when they were a bit younger. So with regards to innovation, you have to really be at your game with all the upcoming things, How is that evolving, with the boys? Do they tell you certain things and do you kind of give it a go or have a look at it? Because they're obviously older now than what they were back then.
They'll constantly like send me things through that they've seen on social media, and I'll get a little ping, have you seen this, have you looked at this? So things are changing all the time in terms of sort of like some of the technology. Shin pads, for example, grip socks are another one that's kind of really come on and has become a sort of quite a trend. But I suppose you then have to ascertain whether that is just a bit of a fad and it's something that's going to come and go very quickly.
Yeah.
But we've also had to like remain at our core, and our core is Lacey's. It's very niche, and it's unique, and it's kind of what I would always say, it's the hero product. It's what brings people into our world. And then from there, we can kind of steer them towards the other products, which are our Defiance products. So it's for me also, it's trying to remain current for the 6 and the 7 year olds and all the ones that are just starting to come through. So I suppose now really I've been there, I've done it, and I've got the t-shirt. So it's kind of like sharing that mum wisdom,
Yeah.
where whether I can be kind of advising the new parents that are just starting out, what to expect when your next 10 years of Sunday mornings that you're giving up. And so I suppose I've become maybe a bit of a sort of you know a, a mouthpiece for those parents, the ones that are new, the ones that are feeding in, as well as trying to keep the brand current with any new trends. So it's a bit of both.
Yeah, no, and that's another area I want to pick on as well, actually, with regards to sticking to your core values.
Mm,
How important is that if you were to give advice to any other businesses? Because I think sometimes there's so many shiny new things that are happening. What
yeah.
advice would you give to another person that's trying to set up and kind of, moving away from the core value of what their brand is all about?
I think you should, and a lot of people don't do it because you're so het up in sort of starting up a business, but you do need to know your brand values from day one. And ours were very much that so grassroots sport is where we were at. Our children were in grassroots. It's where the majority are. We know that some kids go into academies and they go on to professional, but our core audience is at grassroots. And at grassroots level, it relies on parents, volunteers, coaches. It's kind of one big community. And we wanted to make sure that whatever we did with Lacey's, we supported grassroots. So from
Yeah.
day one, we always we will donate back to grassroots causes. And we've sort of never really deviated away from that. Whether that is giving prizes for raffles so clubs can raise funds ready for the next season's kit, whether it's us even just resharing something with our community, some information. We've supported some fundraisers. There was one last year where some goals got vandalized, and no goals, no football
Yeah.
basically. So that was at the heart of what we decided to do when we set up, and we've never deviated away from that. And actually for us it's amazing because as the brand's grown, our impact has grown because we can help a lot more clubs and teams and individuals if they need it as well. If there's children that want to play or have got an opportunity to do something and they haven't got the money to do so, then we've got a nice fund that we can help out from for those causes as well.
Which is fantastic. And again, bringing out the best out of the children and giving them that opportunity. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very passionate about the benefit of sport for children. I've got two boys growing up now, but they were very, very lively. They were definitely not your sit down, read a book and study kind of children. So, I think sport was their sort of savior. That's where they channeled all their energy through. And I just personally feel like every child should have that opportunity if they want it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm massively passionate about the benefits of sport for children.
Yeah, no, I'm a mum of five, so I've got one boy and four girls, but my son and definitely my middle one, who's a girl, they absolutely love football, so they played all the time. And yeah, I don't miss being cold standing on the sidelines. Everything else
Yeah,
is fine.
I know. That is the only, those Sunday January mornings where the rain's coming in sideways. They can feel like lonely moments sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's pretty tough. But again, like you said earlier, it's that commitment that you make as a parent because you're gonna have to make things happen. You're gonna have to take them from point A to B and everything else. And then, like as if
Yeah.
you don't have enough to do, you decided to do Dragon's Den.
Yes. Yeah. So that came about, that came about. Actually, an application went in a couple of years before I even heard from the producers. So it's one of those sort of crazy moments.
Yeah.
Let's try, and didn't hear anything. In all honesty, had completely forgotten that I'd done it. And I was just about to sit down for dinner and kind of doing that last sweep of the emails, the last check before dinner time. And there was an email from a BBC researcher saying, "Can we have a chat?" And literally, my boys came in, my husband was there, and I just said, "Oh my goodness, there's something from Dragon's Den." And my husband's first reaction was, "Well, you're not going to do that, are you?" And my sons were like, "You're going to do that, aren't you, Mum?"
Oh
It was
gosh.
like completely different reactions. But I'm always one for a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
And there were moments during the process of it like, do I really want to be doing this? Because it was quite intense. The sort of even sort of the auditioning process, they wanted quite a lot from you at quite
Yeah.
short notice. And there were a couple of times I was a bit, but I also didn't want to have any regrets. And I think if I hadn't have gone through the actual process, there would have been something nagging me, like, why did I not do it? So, yes, so that aired in January 25, although it was actually filmed in the summer of 2024. So
Right.
it's really quite a long, sort of convoluted process.
It does seem very long, and I remember watching your episode. You did so well. I was gonna say to you, how do you keep so composed? Because the pressure must be real, you know.
Yeah, the pressure, I just I think I just got into a zone, and
Yeah,
then just some deep breathing. Just before I was due to go so into the lift, you could hear all the dragons had all gone to sit down.
yeah,
And we had our sort of stand with our product, and then we'd put a football goal and a football just kind of, more for props to make it look nice. And they'd all sat down, and I was just about to walk into the lift. So I'm stood there, I'm sort of like, really psyching myself up. And they decided to have a kickabout. And so I was like, and in the end, there was like one of the BBC staff was sort of pretty close to me, and they could see what was going on because they had the TV screen into the den, and she actually came and brought a chair and just put the chair like behind me and just sort of held my shoulders and lowered me down. So I think my legs may have been trembling at that stage. I was like, oh, come on, you're just so ready to get in your zone, and they just decided to play football. So
It
yeah,
must have
that
helped you to relax a bit.
yeah, it's just I knew, so I had the 2 minute pitch, and I had to kind of learn that pretty much word for word. So in my mind, I was like, if I can just deliver my pitch perfectly and not forget anything, not stumble on the words, I think the rest will be fine because I know my business. So I'll be able to answer questions about my business. So that's how I framed it. I did deliver the 2 minute pitch. It was all absolutely fine. If it was one moment where it probably took a couple more seconds hesitation than I would want to, but I had done like I'd had a week. I'd had like literally I didn't speak to anybody. All I was doing was rehearsing this pitch. So um I thought the rest would be fine. I didn't realize how long it would be. So it was almost 2 hours, and it was just kind of one to the other to the other. It was
Wow.
very, yeah, very intense. And towards the end, I was pretty tired. Like you use a lot of energy for that type of thing, and I was pretty tired. I was ready to leave by the end. Put it that way.
But would you say, like you said earlier, would you say it's an experience that you definitely enjoyed going through? Well, it's hard, but
Yeah,
you wouldn't have had it any other way.
yeah, in that kind of sort of sick sort of yeah, enjoyment. I think so. Would I do it again? If yes, I would. So I think that kind of answers it. And it's been amazing for the brand since, the credibility that it's given the brand. And we've got some really big sort of potential partnerships and collaborations that I don't think that would have happened if we hadn't have actually put ourselves out there. So I do think, that's a benefit.
And what advice would you give to somebody else who's kind of umming and ahhing about even applying? Obviously you don't know if you're going to get selected, but you know,
I actually had this conversation with somebody the other day. Somebody came to me, they've got a product-based business, so they wanted that they're at very much startup level. I think it's a really great idea. It's a solution to a problem. So I gave them some advice, and I said, you should just apply to Dragon's Den. She's like, oh, I just don't know if I could. And I was like, you won't know. You should just apply because you may not ever hear from them ever again. But actually, in a year, 2 years' time, you might hear from them.
yeah,
So, and then just go with it. And actually, the BBC were really amazing. They said if at any point this doesn't feel right for you, you just tell us, and you can walk away. So you do go through quite a lot of hurdles in this
yeah.
one stage, and then you get to the next stage and the next stage. But there's no, you don't have to do it, but you kind of go along that journey. And what better way to get, how else do we get national kind of press or publication of a brand or a product? It's so valuable, I think. Especially if you've got to have a good product, don't go there with not such a great product because you might not have such a great experience. But, I think, yeah, I would just say to people, just give it a bash and see what happens.
And it's the advice as well that you gain, it other than the whole investment and everything else, it's more the advice, from the experienced dragons. That's really
Absolutely.
helpful.
Yeah, and obviously, in the 2 hours that you're being questioned, obviously that's cut down to about 10 to 15 minutes of
Yeah.
television. But there were so many things that were said to me, and really kind things as well, that I came away just with that clarity that, you've got a great product here. This is good. This does what it says it's supposed to do. Um, and Peter Jones said to me, there was I kind of fell foul on a couple of financial figures and things. And he just said to me, which wasn't ever shown on the camera, but so you can see what you do, can see you're the visionary, you're the creative one. Just get somebody in to do that side of things. They can report to you. You then know that everything's running sort of smoothly with the financials, and continue to do what you do best. And it's so obvious, really, isn't it? But sometimes it is just somebody from the outside seeing what you've got and just giving you that advice. And yeah, they they know their stuff. They've been there and done
No, it makes a difference. And look at you now with your, one of your members who is doing the TikTok. Because I'm the same as you, because everybody's like, oh, TikTok and stuff. And I'm like, I'm so not for that. I just feel this thing, I don't love it, but I know it's important that we have to do it. But if you have somebody who loves it, why not?
Yeah, well, especially I think in, obviously beauty as well. It's absolutely massive, massive on
Yeah.
TikTok. So, and I think really TikTok for us is not necessarily getting sales via TikTok Shop. It's just another route to market. It's another branding tool that we're using. And people can see us, but also we've got quite a demonstrable product, which I suppose is
Mm.
probably why beauty does really well, because
Yeah.
there's only so much you can say on a website page or in an ad.
Yeah.
But on TikTok, you are actually getting the chance to really, we show, we tie some boots into, put a shoelace, we show how it goes on, we show the ridges on the inside of the product. So you can go into depth. I suppose it's
Mm.
the modern day QVC type thing where we've got, your audience are actually really, really engaged. So yeah, but you're absolutely right. It's either doing it yourself or finding somebody that loves it, that it shines through on the screen, really.
Oh, fantastic. And that's great advice as well. So you've obviously picked up quite a few things from just, the whole experience on the show then.
Yes, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. And would you say, in terms of where, you've sold over 500,000 units,
Yes,
how is
yeah.
that going for you?
Yeah. So we're still growing year on year, which is fantastic. Um, Actually probably haven't, we're not going to reach, we doubled for the last 2 years, the turnover's doubled and doubled. And I thought, well, if we double this year, we're probably not going to get that. We'll get close, but it's been sort of the economy hasn't been amazing. So we've sort of the last couple of months, the growth hasn't been on the same sort of trajectory that it was. But we're also looking to do a collaboration with a big partner in America. So that's going to hopefully open us up to a whole new audience there.
Mm.
And America have got a World Cup next year, so there's always a big sort of knock-on effect um, from sort of the growth of a sport when there's a new host country. So yeah, it's going great. Just need to like keep at it, really.
Yeah. No, and that's it. And what would you say to somebody else who, because in business there's, well, or in life generally, people can miss opportunities. What sort of advice would you say to somebody with regards to the opportunity aspect? What do they need to do? Because clearly you've already
Yeah, I
mapped
just
out, this thing happening in the States. You've already linked it to certain things and you're kind of being proactive and preparing for that possibility.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think it's try and see what's happening,
Mhm.
in the future, and then see. So the I can't I because it's still confidential at the moment, but the collaboration that we are looking to do is not the obvious one. So,
Yeah.
and I think so. You obviously you would pick maybe another sports brand, and
Yes.
we would collaborate with them. This is really kind of out of the box.
Yeah.
It's come about, but actually, it's something we talked about earlier. It comes back to brand values, and this particular company share some of the same brand values as us.
Mm.
So, although if you said the name of the company straight away, people are like, "Why are you collaborating with them?" When you understand that we share the same brand values in terms of empowering children, immediately the collaboration seems right. So to actually say, yeah, just sometimes try to try not to be too kind of in your like mindset of I'm a
Yeah.
sports brand, therefore I should only be working here, here, and here, and actually just sort of look at the bigger picture because that's where things have changed slightly for us by doing that.
Oh, that's really interesting. Because I have heard about people talking about even, I know like McDonald's do a big thing, and there's usually some random collaborations that they do. Because when you
Yeah,
see like the prizes and the Monopoly thing, they're so different, and you sort of think, what's a
yeah,
nail brand doing there? But they've obviously
yeah.
seen the opportunity and they've gone in there.
And McDonald's heavily sponsors some grassroots as well. So it's, yeah, which you just, again, you wouldn't think fast food, but
Yeah.
they clearly see that, I suppose for them, that's probably a social responsibility as well, that they are a fast food chain, but let's promote healthy activity with children. So yeah, it's collaborations are really great.
Yeah.
Um, and I do think the when you can collaborate with somebody, the credibility of that's a great brand, people know that brand, and then that brand, and when they come together, it gives you both a certain level of credibility. And yeah, I think they're really important actually for brand
Yeah.
building.
No, that's brilliant. And would you say, with all your journey, obviously you've had the different businesses, and I know your kids would have been younger.
Mm.
What does it look like now? Have you got more time because the boys are a bit older, and how does it feel to be a bit free?
Oh, it's difficult at first actually. I spoke to somebody about it, another mum with a somebody the same age, and this whole like empty nest thing, like
Oh,
people say empty nest syndrome, it is quite real because I spent so many years like juggling. My car was kind of a kitchen in terms of, I'd be literally cooking food. The boys would be collected from school. We'd be going to A to B. They'd have, supper in the car. And then all of a sudden that comes to a bit of a halt. So I'm really grateful I've got the business because it's given me that was always my purpose as well as being a mum. And
yeah.
I'm still a mum, but my role as a mum has changed slightly, which means that I can just invest a bit more time in the business. And I'm still really involved in youth grassroots, which makes me happy that I can still do that. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say just embrace the chaos because it was chaotic. I sort of look back now and think the evenings and the miles that I did, and emails from the sidelines because that's when I had time to do those things. But I wouldn't have changed it for the world either.
Yeah, no, it's really hard though, isn't it? It's especially with the childcare element and being the taxi where you're taking them from point A, B, C, D, and
Yeah,
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 wow,
definitely. And then
fantastic.
and obviously having to do things like I suppose utilize summer clubs and things. I sort of forget that
Yeah.
during the holidays I had to be quite sort of a lot more strict actually that they'd go off to a summer club, but then whichever days of the week I would make sure that that was the time that I would have with them, and we'd go and do something, go and do something fun together. Because it's a cliche, but it goes very quickly. And here I am, talking about it. And one's, my final one's going to be leaving school, and yeah, everything changes all over again.
And it's nice, I suppose, having something for you because as they start leaving, if you weren't doing anything, I think you'd really feel it.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I felt it, and
Yeah.
I still managed to keep myself really, really busy. So if yeah, I do 100% appreciate my business so much in terms of that I've got that. It's like another baby, with all of us that have created a business. I'm sure you can say this yourself. You're so passionate about it. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I've got it.
No, that's fantastic. And if people want to order, do you work with like clubs, schools, or do people just order it on an individual basis from?
Yeah, so we're in some retailers as well, and then we've got some partnerships with football associations, which they have discount codes, and also the football association can earn money through sales as well. So they're all listed on our website. So again, helping out clubs and teams. So a club can have a code, and then they can earn sort of nice, easy way for them to earn a few pounds for the club to go into the club pot.
And how do they reach out to you if they want to have that collaboration and get a code and stuff? Because I know, like, all the schools will have some kind of a football team and stuff.
Yeah, so and people can reach out to me directly, but on our website as well, the affiliate scheme is on there, and it's sort of easily advertised. But yeah, if anybody's ever got any questions about that or how they can implement it into their club or team, I'm always open for a conversation.
Fantastic. Well, it's been really lovely speaking to you. Just as a final thing, what 3 tips would you like to leave the audience with?
Um, so in terms of business or kind of,
It can be both. What's worked for you? What you think, you would have liked to know?
yeah, I mean, for me, I always think trust your gut instinct. So it hasn't really failed me. There's a few times where I'm like, was that a good instinct? Was that not? So kind of go with your gut. Um, I don't think anything should stop you from doing what you want to do. So whether it is because you're a mum or you're a carer or something, I feel like it is possible. It is possible to do what you do. And I suppose the third thing, which has been really important to me over the last couple of years, is finding um, mentors or your tribe, people that do what you do or that have already done what you do, because the value of just having somebody to reach out to, or a group or a community where you can just say, I've got this problem, or can somebody recommend? Um, if you're all in it together, everybody wants to help one another. So you need to find that tribe where there's no ego, there's no people clambering on top of one another. It just find somebody to support and collaborate with you. And I think that's really important.
Well, some brilliant, brilliant tips there. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you. I've absolutely loved it.